Hold fast! No, we're not talking about pirates who steal great games then share them on sites with suspicious pop-ups. This video is about one-eyed, peg-legged, always from Somerset sea dogs. The humble pirate has been a staple of video games for as long as artists were able to render a digital cutlass, and with good reason. Few things spark the imagination like the thought of taking to the high seas in search of booty. And with two massive pirate games in the spyglass for 2018, now seems like the perfect time to sort the hopeless lubbers from the able seamen, the buccaneers from the bucking awfuls. Glug your grog and hoist your Jolly Rogers as we set sail for the complete history of pirates in games. Yarr! It's tricky to pinpoint the very first pirate in video games, but 1978's text-based pirate adventure is a pretty safe bet. After that, we got the brilliantly named Booty, no it's not about that, and then Treasure Island on the Spectrum and Commodore 64 in the same year. As you probably guessed from the title, it was based on the book by Robert Louis Stevenson, and saw you playing as Jim Hawkins as he sneaks past grubby picaroons and cutlass-chucking cutthroats to reach the colourful and complex Long John Silver. Although he's neither of those things in this game, he's just a weird guy who chases you. Skip forward to 1987 and we get one of the most important swashbuckling games of all time, Sid Meier's Pirates. This was one of the first true open-world games, allowing you to hunt for treasure, battle pirates, and trade goods in a constantly evolving world. The same year we also got Plundered Hearts, a steamy Infocom romance game which even came packaged with an elegant velvet reticule containing pretend banknotes and a letter from the game's conniving baddie. 2 years later came Skull and Crossbones, a two-player swashbuckling adventure starring salty sea devils called Red Dog and One Eye. It even has a level in a ninja camp, giving us our first ever Pirates vs Ninjas conflict in popular culture, and it might be the reason that Ubisoft's upcoming piratical open-worlder is simply known as Skull and Bones. On to the 1990s and what might be the golden years of the pirate game, not least because it starts with The Secret of Monkey Island, maybe one of the best pirate games ever made. Looking back now, it's staggering how far ahead of its time the first Monkey Island game is. It's brought to life by brilliant characterization, featuring the hapless would-be pirate Guybrush Threepwood, fearsome spectral swashbuckler LeChuck, and Governor Elaine Marley, who still holds up as one of the most smartly written characters in all of games. It was good enough to get a sequel the following year, LeChuck's Revenge, the same time that the Uncharted Waters series kicked off. It's thematically similar to Sid Meier's Pirates, but less well-known outside East Asia. Despite that, the series has spawned 5 sequels and even an MMORPG spin-off in 2005. We also got perfectly ordinary tie-in game Hook in 1991, and in 1993 came High Seas Havoc, which had a nice menu screen and not much else. 1995 was something of a bumper year for pirate games. There was a Cutthroat Island game to accompany the disastrous movie you've probably forgotten about, High Seas Trader with its gorgeously animated intro movie, and hardcore Russian trading game Sea Legends. Superb 3D fighting game Soul Edge arrived in 1995, bringing with it the dread pirate Cervantes de Leon, a wickedly evil villain and one of only 4 characters to appear in every game in the Soul series. Ahead now to 1997 and thank LeChuck, The Curse of Monkey Island. This game wasn't as critically lauded as the first two, and it looks and feels like a slight departure.
Let's face it, LeChuck, you're an evil, foul-smelling, vile, codependent villain, and that's just not what I'm looking for in a romantic relationship right now.
1997 also gave us cheerful top-down sailing game Overboard, which continues the time-honoured tradition of all pirate games having to have an exclamation mark in their names. And we round off the 90s with 2 more games, Cutthroat's Terror on the High Seas, a real-time strategy game that focused on historical accuracy, and action-adventure Red Jack, Revenge of the Brethren. Onto the noughties and a reunion with Guybrush & Co. in Escape from Monkey Island, the first game that saw the series use fully 3D graphics and the last ever LucasArts adventure. The year 2000 also saw the release of Sea Dogs, an interesting Russian franchise that spawned a number of sequels with different names, and we'll come back to that in just a bit. In 2002 came Pirates: Legend of the Black Cat, the sort of game that was in every rental store in every small town on the planet. Followed in 2003 by two cracking strategy games: Port Royale, Gold, Power and Pirates, and the thigh-slapping island sequel to Tropico 2, which swapped the Caribbean Cold War vibe for rum and raiding. We also got Sea Dogs 2, except the name was changed to Pirates of the Caribbean so it could tie in with the Disney movie of the same name. Technically, it has nothing to do with the film apart from the presence of sea and ships, but it was still a decent title with a modding community that stayed active for years after release. 2004 was a big year for everything nautical but nice. We finally saw the release of the long-delayed galleon created by Toby Gard, a name you might recognise as one of the original designers behind Tomb Raider. It also saw the release of a rejigged version of Pirates, which was great for all the same reasons the original was way back in 1987. And finally, for 2004, a nod to World of Warcraft's Booty Bay, the most piratical plot in all of Azeroth and a ganking spot beloved by all. In 2006 came Age of Pirates: Caribbean Tales, which is sort of the third game in a series of sailing titles by Russian dev Akela. Despite the name, it acts as the true sequel to 2000's Sea Dogs, telling the story of the children of the main character from the original. A sequel was released in 2008 alongside Age of Booty, Stop Sniggering, a cunning multiplayer RTS. A year later we got Ghost Pirates of Buju Island, an adventure game that bore a notable resemblance to Monkey Island, probably because the original concepts were done by Bill Tiller, who designed the visuals for the original LucasArts adventure. And speaking of which, we got Tales of Monkey Island the same year, the first Monkey Island game developed by another company, in this case Telltale. It was released in 5 episodic installments, and while it may not have scaled the same heights as the original, it's still a solid, entertaining adventure game. On to 2010, which we're including in this section because we still don't know what that decade is called, and we're starting with a corker. How about an 18th century pirate game where all the characters are dogs? Oh, go on then. And with a name like Jolly Rover, it's like they thought of the name and worked backwards. Paradox's seafaring RTS Pirates of the Black Cove came out in 2011, alongside a Sims expansion which let you dress up your helpless automatons like cheerful privateers. 2012's Risen 2 Dark Waters doubled down on the swashbuckling action, moving the setting to a dark fantasy world of magic and voodoo. And of course, in 2013 we got one of the best pirate games ever made in Assassin's Creed Black Flag, a departure from the series that supplemented secretive stabbing with sea shanties and sailing. Try saying that after a pint of grog. After that, we have to wait till 2015. Then, just like buses but with wooden replacement limbs instead of wheels, 3 come along at once. Pixel Piracy is a side-scrolling strategy game with roguelike elements, which seems pretty appropriate when you think about, pirates. And Shantae in the Pirate's Curse is an adorable platformer in which you take control of a hair-wielding half-genie on a mission to defeat her nemesis, Risky Boots. And finally, for 2015, we have Raven's Cry, a pirate game that was savaged by critics and was one of the most poorly received titles of the year.
And what about you?
Don't worry, I'll figure something out. Besides, they're not after me.
But there's more. 2016 gave us 2 more booty hunting games. Excellent multiplayer action game The Pirate Caribbean Hunt and open world RPG Tempest Pirate Action. Then in 2017 we had the full retail release of Warhammer tie-in Man-O-War Corsair, a cheerful if slightly leaky open world sailing game that lets you turn your guns on massive sea monsters. And that, my plucky jolly jack tars, brings us bang up to 2018, where we can look forward to the release of Ubisoft's tactical open-world action game Skull and Bones and Sea of Thieves, Rare's slightly delayed co-op Doubloon 'em Up. Please do let us know if we missed off your favourite high sea picks, give us a like if you've ever spliced a main brace or swabbed a deck, and subscribe to Logitech G for more history vids every week. All together now? Yarr!